back to the show, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's crucial for personal growth and living a more fulfilling life. Understanding the primary motivators of human behavior and how attachments can hinder our progress. We all have this innate drive to avoid pain and seek pleasure, right? It's all like this fundamental force that shapes so much of what we do. Tony Robbins, the renowned self-help guru, emphasizes this in his work, stating that this principle underpins all human behavior. But here's the catch. This natural desire to avoid pain and seek pleasure can sometimes backfire. How? Through attachments. We become attached to things, peoples, outcomes, even beliefs, and we start relying on them for our happiness and fulfillment. And when we do that, it can really hold us back from reaching our true potential. So let's break down how attachments hinder our growth. Fear of loss. When we tie our happiness to external things, the fear of losing them creeps in. This fear can be paralyzing. Imagine someone who's completely wrapped up in their job title. It becomes their whole identity. The fear of losing that title can make them cling to the job, even if it's making them miserable. They're so focused on protecting what they have that they miss out on opportunities for growth and new experiences. Across history, humans have chased happiness, often believing that acquiring external things like wealth, possessions, status, or ideal relationships will unlock lasting contentment. True happiness cannot be found solely in external possessions. It's an internal state cultivated through a deeper understanding of ourselves, our purpose, and our connection to something larger than ourselves. When happiness is contingent on externals, it creates a fragile foundation for well-being. Understanding the futility of seeking happiness in externals. The never-ending cycle of desire. Desiring external things to bring happiness often leads to a never-ending cycle of wanting more. This is akin to running on a hedonic treadmill, constantly chasing the next thing we believe will bring satisfaction. This pursuit creates frustration, disappointment, and a persistent feeling of lack, as the satisfaction is fleeting. The illusion of control. Placing happiness out there makes us vulnerable. We relinquish our power to those external factors and become victims of circumstance. When those things are lost or taken away, our happiness crumbles. The drive to avoid pain and gain pleasure often leads to attachments that hinder personal growth. When we depend on external factors for happiness, we become enslaved to these attachments. The power of perspective. Events don't dictate our happiness, but rather our perception of them and how we react to them. The same event can elicit joy in one person and misery in another, highlighting the power of our mindset in shaping our experience. What's some strategies for cultivating lasting happiness? Well, cultivating gratitude. Regularly practicing gratitude is a very powerful tool to shift our perspective from what we lack to what we have. This fosters contentment and appreciation for present moment, breaking free from the cycle of wanting more. Connecting with your purpose. Now, it's important to align our actions with our why, finding our unique gift and contributing to something larger than ourselves brings profound meaning and fulfillment. Constantly evaluating our present based on how finished it feels or comparing it to an idealized future. This prevents us from fully experiencing the joy available right now. By focusing on the process and finding enjoyment in the journey, we cultivate lasting happiness. Practicing detachment. Practicing non-attachment to external events and outcomes. This cultivates inner peace and equanimity, not dependent on external circumstances. By accepting that we cannot control everything, We liberate ourselves from the anxiety of needing things to be a certain way. Shifting our focus inward. True happiness arises from within. Instead of seeking external validation, cultivate self-awareness. Explore your values. Connect with your inner source of joy and peace, and learn to love yourself. Now, here's a few more strategies. Surround yourself with positivity. Surrounding yourself with positive influences, including people, content, and experiences that uplift and inspire. Practice kindness and self-compassion. Treat yourself and others with kindness. By cultivating a compassionate inner dialogue, you can reduce negative self-talk and foster a more supportive inner environment. Focus on what you can control. Focusing energy on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. By accepting the things beyond your control, you can reduce stress and increase your sense of agency. Embrace your vulnerability. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable with trusted individuals can facilitate healing and growth. Sharing your struggles can help you process difficult emotions and gain a new perspective. Developing a solution-oriented mind. It's important on focusing on finding solutions rather than dwelling on problems. This proactive approach empowers you to take charge of your circumstances and transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. Celebrating your progress, recognizing and acknowledging your accomplishments, no matter how small. By recognizing the limitations of chasing happiness in externals and adopting the strategies, you can cultivate a fulfilling and meaningful life. This shift in perspective fosters freedom, resilience, and joy that endures regardless of external circumstances. Resistance to change. We humans are creatures of habit. Our egos, the part of us that wants to stay safe and in control, love familiarity. Attachments supercharge this resistance to change. Even when we know something isn't working, the fear of the unknown can make us cling to the familiar, even if it causes us pain. This resistance can show up in so many ways: procrastination, self-sabotage, you name it. It's like we're stuck in this loop, afraid to step out and embrace the new and unknown. Throughout history, humans have demonstrated a remarkable capacity for adaptation and innovation. Yet, despite our inherent ability to evolve, we often find ourselves grappling with resistance to change, even when the change promises a better outcome. This resistance stems from various factors, including fear of the unknown, attachment to comfort zones, and the perception of change as a threat rather than an opportunity. Understanding the roots of resistance. The ego's attachment to familiarity. The ego's tenacious nature and its resistance to correction, stemming from a strong attachment to familiar patterns, even when they are detrimental. The ego wants to hang on to its illusion of homeostasis rather than to make a shift and feel temporarily off balance. This explains why individuals might persist in unsatisfying relationships, jobs, or habits, clinging to the known rather than venturing into the unfamiliar. Fear as a driving force. The power of pain and pleasure in driving human behavior. We are more likely to avoid perceived pain, even if it means staying stuck in an unfavorable situation, than to embrace the potential discomfort associated with change. The fear of the unknown and how it can paralyze our ability to move forward. Limiting beliefs. The impact of limiting beliefs on our actions and behaviors. If we believe that change is difficult, risky, or beyond our capabilities, we are less likely to pursue it. These beliefs often stem from past experiences and negative self-talk, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that reinforces our resistance to change. Let's look at some strategies for embracing change. Shifting perspective. True change comes from within. Instead of focusing on changing external factors, we must first shift our internal perspective, aligning with powerful attractor fields such as courage, acceptance, love, and generosity. It's important in developing a solution oriented mindset, viewing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Embrace a growth mindset. Embracing a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed, unlocks potential and allows us to thrive through challenges. This involves reframing challenges as opportunities and viewing failures as feedback for improvement. By recognizing that our capabilities are not fixed, we become more open to embracing the learning and growth that comes with change. Changing limiting beliefs. The need to challenge and rewrite the stories we tell ourselves. Identify limiting beliefs, question their validity, and replace them with empowering thoughts that support your growth and desired change. By transforming our inner narrative, we can pave the way for new possibilities and a more receptive attitude towards change. Taking action. The power of decision and action in overcoming fear and creating lasting change. While understanding the need for change is important, it is the commitment to action that truly propels us forward. Start small. Starting small with manageable changes can gradually reduce resistance. By breaking down the larger goals into smaller steps, we can experience a sense of accomplishment and build momentum towards embracing bigger changes. Developing a game plan. Creating a clear action plan with specific goals, timelines, and strategies to overcome potential obstacles. By visualizing our desired outcome and outlining the necessary steps, we can make change feel more attainable and less overwhelming. Utilize tools for motivation. Incorporating motivational techniques such as chanting mantras or finding an accountability partner to maintain focus and commitment. These tools can help overcome moments of doubt and reinforce the decision to embrace change. Cultivating patience and self compassion. That change takes time and effort. It's crucial to be patient with ourselves, recognizing the setbacks are part of the process and not a reflection of our worth. Embracing self compassion allows us to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, fostering a more supportive inner environment that encourages growth and resilience in the face of challenges. Overcoming resistance to change is an ongoing journey. It's not a destination. It requires conscious effort, self awareness, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. By understanding the root causes of resistance, shifting our perspective, and taking consistent action, we can harness the power of change to unlock our potential and create a more fulfilling life. Limited perspectives. Growth often demands a shift in perspective, an openness to new possibilities and ideas. But attachments, especially a rigid belief system, can really box us in. We become so fixated on our own viewpoint that we shut out other perspectives and possibilities. This closed mindedness leads to stagnation, preventing us from evolving and reaching our full potential. Limited perspectives or closed mindedness can significantly hinder personal growth and prevent us from reaching our full potential. It's like looking at the world through a narrow window, missing out on the vast landscape of possibilities and opportunities that lie beyond our limited viewpoint. Understanding the dangers of limited perspectives, stagnation, and missed opportunities. When we cling to rigid beliefs and refuse to consider alternative viewpoints, we create a stagnant environment for personal growth. Attachments to rigid belief systems limit perspectives. This resistance to change prevents us from evolving, adapting, and embracing new truths that could lead to greater happiness and fulfillment. Real change comes from transformative, eye opening experiences, not from forced thinking. The ego's resistance to growth. The ego's tenacious nature and its resistance to correction, often fueled by narcissistic egotism, pride, and vanity. This resistance manifests as closed mindedness, where the ego clings to its familiar worldview even when it's no longer serving us. This hinders our ability to learn from new experiences and expand our understanding of ourselves and the world. Diminished problem solving abilities. Closed mindedness creates a rigid mental framework that limits our ability to approach challenges effectively. Perceiving problems as roadblocks leads to negative emotions and can prevent us from finding creative solutions. This fixed mindset further reinforces our limited perspective, creating a self fulfilling prophecy of stagnation and missed opportunities. Strategies for cultivating open mindedness. Challenge existing beliefs. A limiting mindset is characterized by ingrained thoughts like, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. To break free from this, we must actively question our existing beliefs. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it based on facts or assumptions? Does it truly serve me? Embrace a growth mindset. A growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed, is crucial for reaching our full potential. This shift involves viewing challenges as opportunities to learn and expand our skills. Remember, don't view things as problems, view them as challenges. That is a significant shift in mindset. Seeing failures as feedback for improvement, not as indicators of our worth. That's another good point. Don't take criticism to heart and take it personally. Change your mindset. Use criticisms as feedback for improvement. Embracing effort and persistence as pathways to mastery. Actively seek new experiences. Transformative change stems from eye opening experiences. We can broaden our perspectives by traveling to new places and immersing ourselves in different cultures. This exposes us to diverse ways of life, challenging our assumptions and expanding our understanding of the world. Engage with people from various backgrounds and viewpoints. Meaningful conversations with individuals who hold different perspectives can help us see the world through new lenses. We often project our own shadow selves onto others, limiting our ability to see them clearly. By engaging with diverse individuals, we can challenge these projections and gain a more nuanced understanding of humanity. Practicing mindfulness and self reflection. We can practice mindfulness by observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, becoming aware of how our preconceived notions influence our perceptions. Recognize when we are clinging to rigid beliefs or resisting new information. This awareness allows us to step back from our limited perspective and consider alternative viewpoints with greater objectivity. Cultivate curiosity and a beginner's mind. This involves approaching new experiences with openness and a willingness to learn, rather than clinging on to our preconceived notions. Develop active listening skills. Communication is not about speaking, it's about listening. Actively listening to others, even when we disagree with them, can help us. It helps us understand their perspectives more deeply. This allows us to move beyond our own limited viewpoints and see the world through their eyes, identifying common ground in areas of agreement, fostering empathy and building bridges of understanding. Learn from their experiences and insights, expanding our knowledge base and challenging our assumptions. Embrace constructive criticism. Seeking constructive criticism from trusted individuals, as they can provide valuable insight into our blind spots. By being open to feedback, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable, we can identify areas where our perspectives are limited and gain a more objective understanding of ourselves and our work. Remember, don't take it to heart, don't take it personally. You shift your mindset and use these criticisms as learning tools for improvement. Cultivating an open mind is an ongoing process. It requires conscious effort, humility, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. By challenging our beliefs, embracing new experiences, practicing mindfulness, and actively listening to others, we can break free from the limitations of closed mindedness and unlock our full potential for growth, creativity, and fulfillment. Clinging to negative emotions. We've all been there, right? Holding on to grudges, replaying past hurts, letting regrets eat away at us. It's like carrying around this heavy emotional bag that weighs us down and prevents us from moving on. As David R. Hawkins, a psychiatrist, a spiritual teacher, puts it, the ego can become addicted to suffering. We get so used to these negative emotions that they become a strange source of comfort. And breaking free from that can be tough, but it's also essential for growth and happiness. The ego, driven by self preservation, can become addicted to the juice it gets from suffering. You may unconsciously cling to negative emotions because you've become familiar, albeit painful, source of comfort. It's difficult in breaking free from this addiction as it often requires confronting deep-seated fears and insecurities. However, the rewards of releasing this attachment are significant, leading to greater freedom, resilience, deeper connection, and increased capacity for joy and fulfillment. To begin addressing this challenge, it is crucial to understand the nature of the ego. The ego is not inherently evil, but rather a self-interested entity focused on survival. It seeks to maintain its sovereignty and control, often resisting change and clinging to familiar patterns, even if they are dysfunctional or painful. This resistance can manifest as fear, procrastination, or self-sabotaging behaviors. It's important to approach the ego with compassion and understanding rather than condemnation. Recognizing it as a production of evolution and as part of the human experience, we can approach its limitations with less judgment. David R. Hawkins suggests that identifying the payoff the ego receives from negativity is crucial to breaking free from its grip. This involves honestly examining the juice or satisfaction derived from negative emotions like self pity, anger, resentment, or even righteousness. By bringing these unconscious rewards to conscious awareness, you can begin to understand the motivations behind your attachment to suffering. For example, the ego might derive a sense of identity from being the victim or wronged one. Recognizing this pattern can help you choose alternative, more empowering ways of dealing with yourself. Recognizing this pattern can help you choose alternative, more empowering ways of defining yourself. Once the ego's payoff is identified, you can begin to consciously choose action and beliefs that support your growth. This requires a willingness to challenge the ego's need for control and familiarity, and to embrace the uncertainty that comes with change. Here are some practical strategies to implement these principles and begin to shift away from the ego's addiction to suffering. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment, aware of the thoughts and emotions without judgment. It helps you to observe your negative thought and emotions without getting entangled in them, detaching you from their control. This awareness allows for a deeper understanding of the ego's scheme and creates space for choosing more positive and empowering responses. Engage in self reflection. Consistent journaling can be a powerful tool for identifying recurring themes and triggers for negative emotions. Reflecting on experiences and feelings can help you to recognize these patterns and your thoughts and your behaviors, and to understand how the ego might be perpetuating your suffering. This awareness is essential for creating lasting change. Challenge limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are negative thoughts and self doubts that hold you back from reaching your full potential. Becoming aware of these beliefs is the first step to transforming them. By questioning their validity and consciously replacing them with empowering thoughts that encourage growth, you can begin to weaken the ego's grip. Developing a solution oriented mindset. Shifting from a focus on problems to a focus on solutions empowers you to take charge of your circumstances. Asking, what can I do to improve the situation, rather than dwelling on, why is this happening to me, helps you to break free from the victim mentality, often associated with the ego's attachment to suffering. Cultivate gratitude. Practicing gratitude, even in challenging times, helps to shift the focus from what is lacking to what is present. This practice can be as simple as keeping a daily gratitude journal or taking a moment each day to reflect on the things to be thankful for. By focusing on the positive aspects of life, you can counteract the negativity that the ego thrives on and create a sense of abundance. Embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. Allowing yourself to be open and authentic with others creates deeper connections and a greater understanding of yourself, which ultimately leads to a greater resilience. This involves admitting that you don't have all the answers, or that you're not perfect, and that you sometimes need help. Seek support. Build a strong support network of friends, family, or mentors can provide you with the encouragement and guidance that you need to navigate challenging emotions. Don't be afraid to reach out for help or talk about your feelings. Knowing that you're not alone can significantly boost your mental and emotional strength. Consider professional help. If the ego's attachment to suffering feels overwhelming, seeking professional help from a therapist or a counselor can provide you with the tools and support you need to address the underlying issues. Remember that letting go of the ego's addiction to suffering is a process, not an event. It requires patience, self compassion, and a commitment to personal growth. As Lewis Howes reminds us, you are loved, you are worthy, and you matter. It's time to go out there and do something great. By consistently engaging in these strategies, you can begin to free yourself from the limitations of the ego and create a life filled with greater joy, fulfillment, and purpose. The need to control. This one's a biggie. We get so caught up in trying to control every aspect of our lives, every outcome, and every detail. But the truth is, life is full of uncertainty, and that's okay. True freedom comes from letting go of the need to control everything and trusting in the process of life. The inherent human desire for certainty often leads to a struggle with letting go of control and trusting in the process of life. This struggle stems from the ego's drive for self preservation, leading to a fear of the unknown and clinging to familiar patterns, even when they no longer serve us. This clinging to control can manifest as anxiety, stress, and a resistance to change, ultimately hindering personal growth and happiness. However, embracing the wisdom of letting go can lead to a profound freedom, resilience, and a deeper connection with oneself and the flow of life. Understanding the illusion of control. The first step towards letting go is recognizing the illusion of control. While you have the power to make choices and influence certain aspects of your life, much of life unfolds beyond your control. Accepting this reality can be challenging, especially for those accustomed to seeking certainty and predictability. However, recognizing the limits of control can paradoxically lead to a greater sense of empowerment. Shifting one's perspective from control to influence can be a helpful reframing technique. Instead of trying to force outcomes, you can focus on aligning your actions and intentions with your values and goals, while acknowledging that the ultimate outcome may not always be within your grasp. This shift allows for a more flexible and adaptable approach to life's challenges, fostering resilience in the face of unforeseen circumstances. Let's discuss some strategies for letting go. Once again, practice mindfulness. Cultivating mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment without judgment, is crucial for letting go. And if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, practicing mindfulness is like a key stepping stone to this entire process of changing your mindset. By becoming aware of thoughts and emotions as they arise, you can observe their attachment to control without getting entangled in them. This awareness creates space for choosing a more accepting and trusting response. For example, when anxiety arises from an uncomfortable situation, mindfulness allows you to acknowledge the feeling without letting it dictate your actions. This practice can help to break the cycle of fear and resistance that often accompanies the need for control. Embrace uncertainty. Accepting uncertainty as an inherent part of life can be liberating. Instead of fear in the unknown, you can approach it with the curiosity and willingness to learn and adapt. This involves shifting from a mindset of, I need to know what's going to happen, to, I'm open to seeing what unfolds. What does the future hold? This shift in perspective can reduce anxiety and open up possibilities that were previously hidden by fear. Cultivate trust. Trust is a fundamental element of letting go. This includes trusting in yourself, the process of life, and a higher power if you believe in such. Building trust involves releasing the need to micromanage every detail and allowing things to unfold naturally. Affirmations can be a helpful tool for cultivating trust. By repeating positive statements that reinforce beliefs in your own capabilities and the inherent goodness of the universe, you can gradually shift your mindset towards a more trusting and accepting perspective. Practice surrender. Surrender is not about giving up or becoming passive. It's a conscious choice to release resistance to what is and to accept the present moment without trying to change it. This practice involves acknowledging that sometimes things happen for a reason beyond your understanding, and there is wisdom in the unfolding of life, even when it feels challenging. Surrender can be practiced through prayer, meditation, or simply by consciously letting go of the need to control the situations that are beyond your influence. Focus on what you can control. While letting go of control over external circumstances is essential, you can still have agency over your own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. By focusing on these areas, you can create a sense of empowerment and purpose, even when facing uncontrollable situations. This involves choosing responses that align with your values, setting realistic goals, and taking action towards those goals, even in the face of uncertainty. Develop a gratitude practice. Cultivating gratitude helps to shift the focus from what is lacking to what is present. By appreciating the good in your life, even amidst challenges, you can counteract the fear and anxiety that often accompany a need for control. Keeping a gratitude journal, expressing appreciation to others, or simply taking a moment each day to reflect on things to be grateful for can help you cultivate this mindset. The benefits of letting go. Releasing the need to control everything and trusting in the process of life can lead to numerous benefits. This includes reduced anxiety and stress. When you stop trying to force outcomes, you naturally experience less anxiety and stress. The energy that was previously spent on worrying and micromanaging can be redirected towards a more fulfilling pursuit. Increased resilience. Embracing uncertainty and learning to adapt to change builds resilience. Individuals who practice letting go are better equipped to handle challenges and setbacks, knowing that they have the inner strength to navigate difficult situations. Deeper connections. When you let go of the need to control others, you create space for more authentic and meaningful connections. This involves accepting others as they are, without trying to change them, and allowing relationships to evolve organically. Greater creativity and flow. When you release your grip on control, you open yourself up to the creative flow of life. This can lead to unexpected opportunities, new ideas, and a sense of ease and inspiration in your endeavors. Letting go is a continuous process that requires patience, self compassion, and a willingness to challenge the ego's need for certainty. However, the rewards of embracing this way of being are profound. By surrendering to the wisdom of life's unfolding, you can experience a freedom that transcends the limitations of control, leading to greater peace, joy, and fulfillment. As Tony Robbins reminds us, life is a gift and it offers us the privilege, opportunity, and responsibility to give something back by becoming more. By letting go and trusting in the process, you can truly embrace the gift of life and unlock your full potential for growth and happiness. Focusing on changing others. Ever notice how we're often quicker to point out the flaws in others than in ourselves? It's a common human tendency. We project our own shadow selves, the part of ourselves that we don't like to acknowledge, onto others, and we try to change them instead of looking inward and addressing our own issues. It's a distraction, really, a way of avoiding our own personal growth. The concept of shadow self refers to those aspects of our personality that we deem unacceptable, undesirable, or even threatening. These often include negative traits, repressed emotions, and unresolved traumas that we have pushed into the unconscious, refusing to acknowledge or integrate them into our conscious awareness. However, these unacknowledged aspects of ourselves don't simply disappear. They exert an often unconscious influence on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. One way this manifests is through projection, where we unconsciously attribute these undesirable qualities to others, leading us to try and change them instead of confronting our own inner demons. This projection serves as a defense mechanism, allowing us to avoid the discomfort of acknowledging our own imperfections and the work required for personal growth. Understanding the mechanics of projection, fear of loss, and the ego's grip. The ego, driven by self preservation, clings to those familiar patterns and resists change. When confronted with aspects of ourselves that challenge our self image or threaten our sense of security, the ego may employ projection as a way to distance itself from the perceived threats. This can lead to a persistent focus on changing others rather than facing our own inner conflicts. Attachment to rigid belief systems. Our attachment to rigid belief systems, often formed in childhood, can contribute to the formation of our own shadow selves. These beliefs, whether conscious or unconscious, define what we deem acceptable and unacceptable, both within ourselves and in others. When we encounter individuals who embody traits that violate these beliefs, we may project our own shadow onto them, seeking to change them in order to uphold our own internal sense of order and control. The shadow self as a source of discomfort. As Brianna Wiest explains, when we see someone displaying traits that we have suppressed within ourselves, it can trigger intense emotional reactions, particularly anger and frustration. This arises not because we inherently dislike those traits, but because witnessing them in others forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that we have rejected. This confrontation can be deeply unsettling, leading to a desire to change the other person as a way of alleviating our own discomfort. Strategies for reclaiming the shadow. The process of reclaiming the shadow and integrating these disowned aspects of ourselves into our conscious awareness can be challenging, but it is essential for personal growth and authentic living. Cultivate self awareness. The foundation for reclaiming the shadow is cultivating self awareness. This involves paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and reactions, particularly those that are intense or reoccurring. Mindfulness practices, meditation, and journaling can be a valuable tool for developing this awareness. As we become more attuned to our own inner landscape, we can begin to notice when we are projecting our shadow onto others. Examine triggers and judgments. Pay very close attention to the individuals and situations that trigger strong emotional reactions, especially judgment, criticism, or a desire to change the other person. Ask yourself, what is this about this person or situation that is pushing my buttons? The answer may reveal aspects of your shadow that you have been projecting outward. Challenging rigid beliefs. Identifying the rigid beliefs and values that contribute to your judgments and projections. Question the origin of these beliefs and consider whether they are truly serving you. Are these beliefs based on fear, societal conditioning, or past experiences that are no longer relevant? Challenging and reframing these beliefs can open up space for greater acceptance, both of you and others. Embrace vulnerability. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable with trusted individuals can facilitate the process of shadow work. Sharing your struggles with those who offer empathy and non judgmental support can help you to process the difficult emotions and gain a different perspective of your shadow self. Sharing your struggles with those who offer empathy and non judgmental support can help you to process difficult emotions and gain a different perspective on your shadow aspects. Practice forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for the way in which you have judged and projected onto others is crucial for releasing the grip of the shadow. Recognizing these projections stem from a place of fear and insecurity rather than malice can cultivate compassion for yourself and others. This compassion can pave the way for acceptance and integration of your shadow aspects. Seek professional guidance. If you find the process of shadow work particularly challenging or triggering, seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor or spiritual advisor can be beneficial. These professionals can provide support, tools, and insights to navigate the complexities of this inner working. Benefits of shadow work. The process of acknowledging, accepting, and integrating our shadow selves can lead to profound personal growth and transformation. Increased self acceptance. As we become more aware of our shadow aspects, we can begin to accept them as part of our wholeness rather than rejecting or suppressing them. This self acceptance can lead to a greater peace and authenticity in our lives. Enhanced compassion. Understanding our own shadow allows us to develop greater empathy and compassion for others. When we recognize that everyone has their own shadow struggles, we become less judgmental and more understanding of human imperfections. Improved relationships. Shadow work can lead to healthier and more fulfilling relationships. As we become more comfortable with our own shadow, we are less likely to project it onto others, allowing for a more authentic connection based on mutual respect and acceptance. Greater creativity and personal power. Integrating the shadow can unlock hidden potential and creativity. By embracing the full spectrum of our being, we can access a wider range of emotions, perspectives, and experiences, enriching our lives and expanding our capacity for self-expression. The journey of shadow work is not about eradicating our negative traits or becoming perfect. It's about embracing the fullness of who we are, both light and shadow, and integrating these aspects into a more authentic and whole self. As Carl Jung reminds us, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. By confronting the shadow selves, we can step into a more empowered and fulfilling way of being, both for ourselves and for the world around us. So we've talked about how attachments hold us back, but what drives us to form these attachments in the first place? That brings us back to those primary motivators of human behavior: pain and pleasure. Remember Tony Robbins? He argues that we're constantly seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. And to really create lasting change, that pain has to reach a certain threshold, what he calls an emotional threshold. It's like that tipping point where the discomfort becomes so intense that we're finally ready to make a shift. But pain and pleasure alone don't tell the whole story. Robbins also highlights the importance of understanding our 6 basic human needs. 1. Certainty. We all crave a certain level of stability, security, and comfort in our lives. 2. Uncertainty or variety. But we also need a bit of spice. We need change, excitement, new experiences to keep us engaged and growing. 3. Significance. We all want to feel important, unique, like we matter in the grand scheme of things. 4. Connection or love. We're wired for connection. We crave loving relationships, a sense of belonging and community. 5. Growth. We're meant to evolve, to learn and develop throughout our lives. Stagnation doesn't feel good. 6. Contribution. Deep down, we want to make a difference, to leave a positive mark on the world. Now, these needs are universal, but the order in which we prioritize them, how we try to meet them, that's what makes us unique. Understanding our own hierarchy of needs and the needs of others can really shed light on our motivations and help us make a more conscious choice. So how do we break free from these attachments that are holding us back? The first step is awareness. We need to recognize the attachments that are no longer serving us, those patterns that keep us stuck. And remember, letting go is a process. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes honesty, self-awareness, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. But the rewards are so worth it. So, my friends, take some time to reflect on your own attachments. What are you holding on to that might be holding you back? What needs are driving those attachments? And what steps can you take, even small ones, to start letting go and embrace a life of greater freedom and growth?